Hi everyone, I'm Sal Johnson. I'm the editor and publisher of GolfObserver.com, and with me is Dave Seener. Hey Dave, how are you doing?
I'm terrific, Sal. How are things up there in New York at Bethpage?
Well, what can I say? I don't have a golf shirt on. I have this little button down, and you can see right in back of me, that's the first tee of Bethpage Black that's going to hold the U.S. Open, and it's empty. No golfers on the golf course. Had about 2 inches of rain, so no golf today. What can I tell you?
No free golf for you, Sal. That's sad. Well, listen, I understand we have a pretty cool guest today. This is Mike Davis. He's the Senior Director of Rules and Competitions for the USGA. That means he is the man who is responsible for setting up the golf course. So he's in charge of the fairways and the greens and everything else at Bethpage. So how about firing a question at him, Sal?
Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us. And can you tell us, you've been on the job doing this since 2005. What have you learned and what are you doing differently now about setting up golf courses for the U.S. Open?
Well, since I've been with the USGA close to 19 years, I've been able to watch the setup of the U.S. Open over the years and see certain things that we were doing exceptionally well and other things perhaps we could improve on. And I think since '05, we've made a few philosophical changes about the Open. But I think in general, some of the things we've done, such as the graduated rough and the idea of allowing the player to play from the rough and really show his skills or her skills for a women's Open, we've gotten better at it, I think, each year, just trying to better understand the capabilities of the players. So overall, it's a learning experience each year, and you try to really take what's happened and apply that to the future to make the Open better and better.
Mike, Bethpage, a public golf course, it gets a ton of play. Lots of rounds each year. A lot of guys out there taking some big divots and whatnot. So I'm a little curious, how has the golf course held up in terms of condition since the 2002 Open?
Well, Dave, the answer is it's been wonderful. And I think one of the great byproducts of the 2002 U.S. Open is it really took with some people, the stigma of playing a municipal golf course, and it's taken it to a level that private golf courses around the country would love to have. And if you came out here after the 2002 U.S. Open, you would find that the condition of the course was every bit as good as it was in 2002. So, it's been wonderful, and what it's really shown the golf world is that you do not have to be private or high-end resort to have a great conditioned golf course. And so we were delighted, and that was one of the things going into 2002 that we truly hoped would happen, is that it would kind of show the world that, hey, being a municipal golf course, it doesn't matter who owns it, it doesn't matter who plays on it. It's all about, do you have the right people in place and the right goals to keep a golf course championship condition?
Hey, that's very interesting. Well, let me ask you this. What are you planning on doing differently this year compared to the 2002 U.S. Open?
Well, overall, we had a tremendously successful Open in 2002. So you go into this one saying, listen, overall, Bethpage is going to be the same golf course as it was. But, I think you always look back and say, what could have been better? So there are certain things. We've added a few new team grounds that I think is going to give us a chance to have more flexibility on holes, and we'll bring some different architectural features into play. We also have the graduated rough this time. And then there were a few things that we felt weren't quite right in 2002, maybe some of the fairway contours. An example was in the 10th hole. On Friday, round 2, we got a very unusual wind where some of the players in the morning portion of the round couldn't even reach the fairway. So there's an example where we brought the fairway back some 35 yards to deal with that. I think overall we widened the fairways probably in general a good 5 yards, and in some cases we widened them substantially just to bring more of the bunkering into play, and we think probably make the test a little bit better. But overall, I would say that it's the same Bethpage, but trying to just kind of make 2002 a little bit better. And we'll also use some different team grounds this time and really try to introduce a little bit more risk-reward into Bethpage versus having each hole, really a brute.
Well, a lot of really interesting stuff. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining Dave and I on Barely Inbounds. Hey, Dave, boy, he threw a lot of really good stuff at us.
Yeah, it's a great update on what's going on at Bethpage, which is such a terrific venue. We all remember Tiger's victory there in 2002. Mickelson came in second. Sergio was in the hunt. But it is such a terrific venue in that it's a great classic golf course, built in 1936. A.W. Tillinghast design. Uh, it has some great, interesting challenges to it in that there's a half a dozen holes where the tee shots are pretty much blind. The golfers don't know where the ball is going to land, or they can't see it land. You got a half a dozen or so elevated greens, which again are sort of problematic when guys are trying to gauge their approach shots. So that's an element that's just really cool about this place, and it's great to see Bethpage back for a U.S. Open.
Well, and then on top of that, Mike was also telling me later on that they're going to try something different at the USGA this year. And they're going to have what they call the first consistent U.S. Open. And what I mean consistent is every year that you come out here, Monday when they come for the first practice round, the golf course gets tougher and tougher every day. Tuesday's a lot tougher than Monday. And down the road, by the time they get to Sunday, it's a real bear. But what they want to do is they want to present the golf course the same on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and they want it to play the same all the way through the week till Sunday. And they're going to have a golf course that is the same firmness of the greens. The speed of the greens are going to be rolling the same. He told me it's going to be 13 and a half on the stemp meter. And they're going to also do a lot of things with the rough to make sure that the rough every day is the same consistent rough, same height. It's not going to get any tougher, not going to get any easier. So hopefully if Mother Nature, cooperates, they're going to have something that's really different.
Well, the USGA is at the forefront of a lot of advances in agronomy, and they're able to take advantage of some of the new technologies that enable them to keep things consistent that way. They know how to treat the greens, they know how to treat the turf and make it behave that way. Obviously, they can't control the weather, but I think that's going to be a welcome development for the players because they're going to have plenty of challenges and the things that they're going to have to get used to. There's going to be multiple tee boxes there. There's some of the holes where they're going to have some options to change the length by what I believe close to 100 yards.
Well, you look at the eighth hole. It'll either play. It's a par 3 downhill. It'll either play 135 yards or it could play 230. It's very interesting. They've added 213 yards to this golf course since 2002, making it the second longest U.S. Open track since last year at Torrey Pines. So, a lot of really neat little things. We're looking forward to a good, U.S. Open. Now, this week, we also have a really good tournament down in Florida in your neck of the woods. So let me ask you, 2 in a row, who are you going to pick this week? Who do you like?
Well, of course, everybody I'm sure wants to see the Tiger Phil coming down the stretch. But I'm going to go with somebody who's been a little, I'm not going to say under the radar screen because he's got the 3 top 10s so far this year, but Luke Donald. And he was runner-up in his last start at the Verizon Classic. I think he's got the kind of precision game that it takes to win around here. I believe he's ranked number 3 in putting right now. You got to be able to putt the ball around that golf course. So, I believe his wrist injury is fully healed. So I'm looking for something from Luke.
Well, you know what? I'm going to go with your horse. You said that Luke had 3 top 10s. Hey, Sean O'Hara has 6. He is tied with my 2 picks for the day. I think Sean O'Hara is looking for a little redemption, just like he got at Quail Hollow for what happened to him at Bay Hill, 5 weeks previously. You know that he's thinking on his mind what happened in 2007 when he had that disaster down the stretch when he was, mano a mano, for the championship and made that ungodly error at 17 and finished 11th in the championship. So I like Sean O'Hara. Another horse that I like is Kenny Perry because of the fact that he always seems to play well here. He's driving it well, and he also is probably looking for a little redemption. And you know what? If you can't win the Masters, hey, the Players' Championship is considered the 5th major championship in golf.
I'm not buying Kenny Perry. He showed too many weaknesses around the greens, and you can't have that stuff happening at the TPC Sawgrass, that's for sure.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and you all take care. We'll talk to you next Monday.